Welcome to this very special edition of Songkick Live. I have the pleasure tonight to bring up to the stage an extraordinary artist, Mitch Clark. So the first question was from the audience, Mitch, and it basically concerned what your experience was working on an audio-only music competition series. It's never been done before. It's not something that people are familiar with. So I think people are curious about what an experience like that, doing something like that remotely, unique obstacles, challenges.
Yeah. First, I mean, it was super challenging. It was intimidating at first. I mean, my first week on the show, I was like, what did I get myself into? I was very defeated after week one, because I just heard the talent of the other people on the show. There were still some like kinks being worked out, and like I was actually the first week on the show, I was on a family vacation and spent the entire time set up in the basement of this beach house. I touched my foot to the sand like on the 7th day there. So I like never left the basement. Yeah, no, I didn't even see my family, I think, the whole week. But it was worth it, you know. But and they didn't understand at first either. So that was another challenge too. Like they were like, you know, it was like, oh, I was gonna work on this a little bit and then like be on family vacation, and then like we didn't see Mitch, and so when it was all said and done, it was like, now you guys see, like it was worth it. It was all worth it, you know. It was cool. But to get back to the question, I guess it was very different. I mean, figuring out the technical difficulties, like working. Doing studio sessions not in a studio, doing them from home and with a time constraint, and trying to like, you know, to do all this stuff with a producer and an engineer in another location and sending stems every which direction. I don't know if that means anything to any of you guys, but trying to figure all that out and get the parts in such a short time was super challenging. And it was like, you had to get something, and then by the time to present to Kelly and Sarah, you're like, you were like, I mean, you were scrounging to try to like get enough to even just like present to them for them to give you feedback on, and that was tough. And but it pushed you to like I said before, well, I didn't say this before, I said this to somebody else, but to kick the editor out of the room. That was something that Sarah said on the show, and that stuck with me as far as the writing process, because that was another thing that was very different, was writing solo. In Nashville, we do mostly co-writing, so doing the solo write stuff was very, very different, and you get in your own head on being like, I don't know if this is the line or not, like I don't know if this is good enough, and she just kind of said, kick the editor out of the room, don't stop the flow of creativity. When it's flowing through you, like let it flow through you, let the audience be the people to judge if that's a good line or not. And I think that was helpful, especially like with the time that we had. You had to just let it flow and just do it. So
I know the answer to this, but it's with something like Unapologetically You and Won't Let It Rain. How quickly were you turning something like that around?
Pretty much within a day. So like you would be given a challenge, and then like the next that night or the next day, you know, the next day you usually had a meeting with producer to try to like be like, hey, this is the tempo that I'm thinking, this is the key that I'm thinking, and this is like all these things. Not to mention getting sound bites for the podcast to be like, hey, how's it going today? How are you today? So like, what are we working on?
Half those songs you heard tonight, he turned around in a day. Those were, I mean, that's the extraordinarily talented. That is awesome. I mean, is there something about that efficiency or the specificity of the challenges that you'll bring forward with you outside of the context of the contest, or how do you normally write?
I mean, most of the time in Nashville anyways, it's co-writing everywhere. So usually at least 3 people in the room, and And I think that definitely is helpful for me. I prefer that just because I'm more of a thinker. I kind of sit. I'm not like, there's some people that throw spaghetti. They throw noodles at the wall and like they just keep throwing stuff out until something sticks. And then you have the other person that's like sitting there thinking and hearing all these things that they're throwing out, and then all of a sudden you spit out a whole verse and they're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But I liked being the thinker in the room sometimes, like throwing ideas out here and there. But it was very different. Like doing it on my own was very different, but it was therapeutic, and I think that's what art is supposed to be. And so that was another really good thing that I really enjoyed about it, was like really saying what I was feeling and saying what I wanted to say, and not going off of anybody else's ideas or their feelings or whatever, so.
Well, somewhere at the intersection of collaboration and therapy might be your relationship.
Yeah.
You live with another performer, your girlfriend.
Correct. She's incredible.
And number one, what's that like? Just kind of navigating a life together, both as professional musicians, and also, did you leverage any of that during the contest? She was at the house, you were at the house.
So I definitely, I like for the encore song, for sure. The encore song, so that was the only one that they gave the prompt to us, I guess more in advance.
Yeah.
And really all that prompt was write your encore song, like write the song that you're known for and the one that, everyone's going to be like, come out and play that one. And for me, that was tough because I didn't really like that prompt, because I felt like that wasn't my song to choose. That was more of like a fan's song to choose. And so I ended up deciding to first, going back to that. So it was a tough prompt for me. So I bet I started 5 or 6 different songs that I was like, that's not it. This isn't it. That's not it. And kept just scrapping stuff. And then ended up going back to the very first idea I had. But I kind of decided to write my encore, the encore of my journey on the show, and think about sort of what the competition was and what I was writing for. And I won that challenge. It ended up working out, but
nice.
Yeah. But I remember playing what I had for her, and her being like, "That's badass," and I was like, "I don't think that's it." And she's like, "You're an idiot. That's great." And anyway, she was right.
And she was right. Yeah, I imagine you've written a lot of songs for her in your history, but now with the show. And I think, regularly outside of the show, it seems like you're writing a bit for your daughter as well.
Yeah.
So, you're a new father. What's the impact of fatherhood on your artistry, on how you write, or how you navigate the industry so far?
I think there's just a different purpose of what I'm doing with everything. And I don't know. I didn't ever really write in the sense of from a savage male perspective or anything like that. So it wasn't like it changed. I didn't ever do that. So it didn't change me in that perspective to be like, oh, I can't write that way now because I have this little girl and it makes me think different. But I don't know. I think it's just a different purpose. And when in writing the lullaby, I'll never forget literally I was the only one on the show with a child, so I think I had a little bit of an advantage there to write a lullaby. But I'll never forget sitting in the living room, literally just watching her play and run around and thinking what do I want her to know? What would I want her to know? And that's sort of how that song came to be. And then it was after writing it, I'm like, this is what I need to tell myself this, right? I need to tell myself this right now. It's kind of crazy how it came around, but by the way, she knows all the words to that song, can sing it top to bottom at 2.5, can tell you all the words, and sings it with the melody. It's great. She can do it like, yeah.
So she
pretty cool.
She was present at the live finale in New York, and she stole the show, I think.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Even from your winning night, she was definitely the focus of
Okay, this is a really funny
show.
thing that happened, by the way. At the finale, there's a picture of this somewhere, a video maybe. But so from the time that before she could even walk, we've always like done like I love you to her. And so after being announced the winner, I remember seeing Mary Sarah, which is my girlfriend, her mother, like give me this from the crowd. I could see like her holding Evelyn, like doing I love you to me, and I'm like doing it back to her. And then I see Evelyn trying to figure it out. Like she's still trying to like figure it out. It ends up coming out like this. She ends up flipping me off, and I'm like, sweet, thanks. So it's on video or picture somewhere, but it's so funny, her like trying to figure it out and then just flips me the bird. I'm like, thanks, honey. Appreciate that.
I have kids that are a little bit older than yours. Unfortunately, that won't be the last time you're gonna see that.
That's awesome.
You mentioned that you were the only contestant with kids. That's a tough thing to know because of the 5 finalists, nobody ever saw each other for the entirety of the series. Everybody was also independently remote. But on a weekly basis, everybody kind of came together and had these listening parties where they listened down their work from the week prior. And what was thrilling was watching you guys grow as a community and kind of foster this real mutual respect and joy in each other's development. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and your experience with the other contestants?
Yeah, it was really crazy to like, it's really wild how much can be created and drawn in your mind just from audio. I mean, it really is really, really wild to just like, creating the images I had of these people that I was up against in this show. But at the same time, I say up against, like, yes, I knew it was a competition the whole time, but also like everybody was just so supportive of each other that it also, and everybody was so different in their own way that like it didn't necessarily feel so much like competition the whole time. There was definitely winners and losers on on each challenge and things, but yeah, everybody was just, I don't know, it was a community. It really was. It was like a family, and they're friends that we still talk. Like we have a group text and we talk all the time. It's pretty cool. But there's some of them I know that I will work with musically, in the future.
Ask.
For
there's
sure.
There's a couple of them where it seemed like you guys were organically kind of connected.
We'll absolutely collaborate for sure. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for it. Speaking of the future, you mentioned you're releasing a song.
Yeah.
Please tell us more about that. That's really exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. So, here in just over 2 weeks, plan on releasing this song called "I Never Thought." I hope you guys liked it, and thank you so much. And that song also, I never thought we would get it finished. Honestly, it was so talk about like doing some of these in hours or overnight. That one I started on my own, had the chorus on my own. And I guess it was a few months later, I met with a buddy. We tried to write on it. We wrote a first verse to it. That's as far as we got. A few months later, I wrote the second verse on my own. And then I was like, this song is so cool, but it needs a bridge or something. I bet it was 6 months later, I got with him again. We wrote a bridge to it and finally like finished it up. The song almost took a year, I bet, to write. And so I don't know, it's just kind of ironic that it's like being the first one that I'm going to put out. So I'm super excited about it. Whenever I finally get the things out and being like, hey, go pre-save it, that would be amazing if you guys would help me out and go do the pre-save thing and all that, please. So thank you.
Well, we will do it, and I think I want to speak for everybody to say this is obviously only the beginning for you.
Thank you.
Exceptionally lucky to be in the room with you tonight as you kind of start your ascendant journey. Thank you for being on Breakthrough, the winner of Breakthrough, first season on Audible right now. Please, everybody, listen to that and listen to Mitch Clark. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for staying.
Thank you guys so much.